So this is the two-sample t-test, also known as the unpaired t-test. This is the one you're probably going to use in science. Additionally, in the previous video, I had told you that what if you wanted to compare different periods, first period to second period, right? Well, you can do that with this two-sample t-test or a unpaired t-test. The reason it's called unpaired is because these are two different samples. They're not aware of each other. They're not aware of anything. They're separate. They're two separate samples. So when you're conducting your experiments, you might look at it in a way scientifically where you want to compare the control to the variables, right? So this is a two-sample t-test. In this case, it's a little bit different. Let's look at the example. The researchers want to know whether or not two different species of plants in a particular country have the same mean height. So these are two different species in two different countries, and they want to know if they have the same mean height. Well, you can just get the mean and you would be fine. Remember, we're comparing the two different means. We want to know if the two means are statistically different. So this time you put in your t-test, your range for dataset 1, your range for dataset 2. We want to do a two-tailed test, and remember, you put 2 for your two-sample t-test. This is the one you're probably going to be using. Click enter, we get 0.530. Well, that is above our 0.05 value, our alpha value, right? So that means that we fail to reject the null hypothesis of this test, which means that they're equal. So that means that the null hypothesis could be true. So what does it say here? We do not have sufficient evidence to say that the mean height of this particular species of plant is different from 15 inches. So they probably don't make much of a difference. It doesn't mean anything. We cannot reject the null hypothesis. So let's take this back to our paired samples t-test, the one I told you about in the previous video. This is how you can determine if something you're doing in your class from first period is statistically different from second period. So you're comparing two different classes, first period to eighth period, first period to fifth period. They are not the same group, they're different groups. So this is more than likely going to be the sample t-test you're going to be using. Remember, for your paired sample t-test, you're going to be putting in a 1. For your two-paired, you're going to be putting a 2. These are the most common ones you're going to be using your t-test for. And remember, this allows you to use the vocabulary of something being statistically different or not being statistically different.